Hello, today I thought I'd do another What Did I Use 1 Year On video, where I gather together things which I was given or bought around a year ago and take a look at how much I've used them and how much I enjoy them. This time I've collected together the things which I was given or picked out for my birthday just over a year ago. First of all then was a journaling set which my lovely friend Alison bought for me, and it contained a number of products from well-known brands. A couple of the things aren't here because I've used them up. There are 3 washi tapes by MT, and that's all that I've got left now. Nearly finished the last one. That was nice washi tape to use. And there was a tape runner by Tombow, which I've used up as well. Seems like good tape. The last time I did one of these videos, I talked about the products falling into 3 main categories. Things that I really like and use quite a bit, things that I like but haven't got around to using yet, and things that I didn't particularly like. So here we've got an Aquafine Sable round, a couple of Signo pens. We've got a Micron 3, it's a 0.35mm line. There's a Tombow Mono eraser, it's a really fine eraser. And then a Tombow Fudenosuke, it's like a hard-tipped brush pen. These are all products which I think are good. I've got no complaints about them at all. I haven't used them a huge amount, partly because my painting's been larger and I haven't had much use for a detailed brush in the past year. And I haven't done much brush calligraphy. I do like the Mono Zero rubber and I do use that. And then the Micron is a really good fine liner pen. I haven't used it a great deal just because I've been tending to reach for the Uniball Air Micro pen when I've been doing pen and ink things lately. I played around with the Caran d'Ache gouache a bit, though I haven't done a huge amount of gouache painting in the last year. I'm sure I'll cycle round to it again in the future, but I usually use Winsor & Newton's Designer's Gouache and also Holbein gouache, and I'm not sure I liked the Caran d'Ache gouache as much as those 2 brands, though it does seem pretty decent. Now I can't find the pencil that came with this, which is a bit annoying. It was a Derwent Precision mechanical pencil, and the pencil itself is nice. It's black, smooth, round, barreled pencil, but, and it's a big but, these leads are not good. I did not enjoy using them at all. They just break really frequently. This is my go-to pencil. It's the Pentel P205. And I use these Einstein leads. I'm not sure if that's what they're called. And I haven't had any problem with these snapping unless I've been really hard with them. So often I'll use a pencil for ruling lines. So for example in the grid in this paint swatch. And my Pentel pencil and lead manages it fine, I don't get any breakage. But I was finding that the Derwent Precision, the leads that were inside it, just broke really often when I was using it with a ruler, and even when I was just writing sometimes. So I was a bit disappointed with that from Derwent, but definitely prefer my Pentel setup. And then I also had this nice tin of Chromaflows. I actually store those in my pencil case along with my Prismacolours. I think Prismacolours are the most similar to the Derwent Chromaflow range. I found that they're very nice soft pencils. They lay down easily and they blend nicely. But I have to say I still do prefer the Prismacolours. I think personally they have the edge on the Derwent Chromaflows. Now I've not had much of a problem at all with breakage with the Prismacolours, but I did find that the quality of some of the Chromaflows was a bit questionable. So this denim, for example, it snapped a couple of times, but I don't know if you can see the wood. It's really rough and doesn't sharpen particularly nicely. And a few of the pencils were like that. So not up to the same standard as the other Derwent pencils. And although they give a nice colouring experience, not as nice as the Prismacolours to my mind. And then I had this Rhodia Goalbook. It's got kind of a faux leather surface. And I have really enjoyed this book. I didn't start using it straight away, but I've been using it for my morning pages, which I talked about in the book The Artist's Way. And it encourages you to write 3 pages in the mornings of just anything that you feel like writing, with zero judgment and zero worrying about what you've written afterwards. So this has become my Artist's Way book. And it's this dot pattern. It's really smooth paper, but it's been thick enough. I've mainly used a fountain pen in it, and it's held up to fountain pen ink really nicely. And then the pocket in the back has been nice just for keeping little cards and things that have been sent. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed the Rhodia Goalbook. I also received another turquoise notebook, and this was a Moleskine, and it's just a blank notebook. This was from one of my sons, which I'm looking forward to using, but I haven't finished off a similar blank notebook yet. Then I also had some Rosa Gallery watercolour paints. I'd already bought the Romantic set and quite liked it, but I wanted to try out some more paints from Rosa Gallery's Monopigmented line. So quite a few of the paints in this art haul were monopigmented ones. So we had Royal Brown, and this was my first time coming across PBR 25, and I really quite enjoy it. Then there was Quinacridone Lilac, which is an absolutely gorgeous paint. It's a lovely colour. Then I'd got Flame Red, which is a pretty standard PO73. And Aureoline, which is PY150. And again, it's a pretty decent, comparable to the other professional line PY150s that I've got. Then again, pretty good standard PG7. This is their Emerald Green. And Cerulean Blue. Golden Yellow. Bright Blue, which is PB15:3. Cadmium Lemon. I don't have many cadmium colours to compare this to. And Turquoise, which I think I've used the most in this set. This is Blue Indanthrene. I think when it comes to dark blues or the PB60 pigment, I quite like Daniel Smith's Indanthrone Blue. And for a really strong, powerful one, I've got M. Graham's Anthraquinone Blue. So I probably lean more towards those two than this one. And then I've got the Chromium Oxide, and I really like this green. It's an ever so nice paint. And the last one that I had is this Black Grape, which I was slightly disappointed in because I was thinking from the name that it would be a bit more purpley, and it's not a particularly purple black. But they're not bad paints at all, especially for the price. They're really reasonably priced. All of my other watercolours, apart from my Roman Schmall paints, are in these pans, which if you've seen any of my videos recently, you'll already know about. Derwent pencil tins. And that's really encouraged me to use lots of different paints, which I wasn't getting to as much. And I think what I want to do is include these Rosa Gallery paints and my Roman Schmall full pan paints. I want to mix them in with my half pans into that system, because I think there's quite a few paints here that I'd probably use more often if they were in my big palettes. Then my present to myself last year was a set of 24 QoR watercolour paints. I squeezed out the full set of 24 into half pans, but in the last couple of months I had a big craft clear out, and I decided just to keep my favourite 10 of the set of 24, and I sold the others as part used. I have mixed feelings about the QoR watercolours. I love their ability to flow quickly in water, and I think some of the colours are absolutely stunning. They're just really clear and vivid, but I wasn't as keen on their reds and yellows in particular. I didn't find that they mixed all that nicely. A couple of the QoR paints are in my limited palettes. So I've got QoR Raw Umber, I quite enjoy that. And I've got the QoR Quinacridone Gold in this little one. Quite a few colours in this set were the first time that I'd owned these particular pigments. So the Cerulean Blue Chromium I hadn't had before. I hadn't had Quinacridone Gold before. Or the Raw Umber. Or the Viridian. I think this might have been the first Raw Sienna I had as well. So I think my recommendation for QoR paints are just to pick out a few colours rather than a whole set of them that you're particularly interested in. I'll just give you an example of how they flow in water compared to a couple of other brands. So I'm just going to put some water on the paper. Take a look at how fast the paint moves when I pop it into the water. This outer ring occurs just almost instantly. It really does flow fast. And then I do the same again. So this is the same pigment, PY150, and this time I'm trying to get roughly the same amount on my brush. This is Magello Mission Gold's Green Gold. So you can see it kind of sits where it's put much more. That's not to say it's not a beautiful paint. I actually really like Mission Gold's paints. But you can just see the different qualities. So I'll just do the same again. So this is QoR's Raw Sienna. And I don't know if you can see, there's like an outer ring that disperses really quickly. And then this is Snellier's Raw Sienna. Get a bit more pigment. So it just tends to stay put a little bit more. Again, they're both nice paints, but it's just a different quality. So I was very glad to have tried them out anyway, and satisfied my curiosity about QoR paints. And then the final paint that I had in this art haul was Daniel Smith's Quinacridone Deep Gold. And this was actually a replacement from my previous tube, which had run out. This paint just seems to find its way into all of my palettes. I just really like it for mixing. It's just a lovely rich colour and it makes brilliant greens. I like it so much that it's even in my limited palette of 6 colours. I've had this same limited palette for over a year now, though these have been refilled. And I'm just really happy with the colours which I can achieve with it. And then we get on to what I think is probably my most favourite thing from the whole art haul, or group of things. And that's my Platinum Carbon Black ink and my Lamy Safari fountain pen. And this one's got a medium nib. And I've got a Lamy Safari ink converter in it. I've used this pen so much in the last year. As you've seen, I've used it for most of my writing in my journal. I've done quite a lot of art with it, and I just use it for all general writing. So in most of my videos, this is the pen that I've used for writing paint names and everything. I did have a Lamy Safari that had a fine nib, and I didn't get on as well with that. I didn't feel like the ink flowed as fast and smoothly. Whereas this medium nib, I just feel like I've got plenty of juicy ink coming out, and that it will keep up with however fast I want to write or draw. I like this particular pen because it's not one of the shiny plastic ones. It's got a slightly more grippy surface, and I just enjoy the whole thing. I think it was about £20 and well worth it to my mind. Just looking in my Khadi Fat book, there's a few of my splodge and scribble pictures where I've put the paint down and then gone over in ink afterwards, and I've used this Lamy Safari for them. That's another one. That's another one. So very, very, very happy with these. I have a couple of things now which fall into the like but don't use very often. And that's my Archer's hot pressed watercolour paper. I haven't got any pictures in it. I have used it, but I used the paintings for card fronts. I'd bought it because I wanted to compare it with the Archer's cold pressed watercolour paper. But in all honesty, because they're expensive, I tend not to reach for them. And so they just don't get used as much as I would like to, really. And then I've got this little Khadi book. And it's very rough paper. And I've literally got this one picture in it. So it was after I'd been sailing last year. I did a painting from a photo that I'd taken. I don't have any complaints at all about the paper. It does have a slightly regular pattern to it, which I don't tend to like, but it's not too bad at all, really. And I do love the kind of decal edges. So again, it's just one that I ought to get out more. And actually, while we're looking at this picture, another thing from the art haul was this professional synthetic sable rigger from Winsor & Newton. And I don't love this brush. When it came, it felt like some of the bristles, in fact it's doing it again, some of the bristles just weren't behaving, even though I've not stored it badly or anything. And so I had to snip some of the bristles off to be able to get a better point. And it still doesn't lie kind of reliably flat and smooth. I did manage to do these really fine lines of the rigging with this brush, but it's not a brush that I'm naturally drawn to. And then the last couple of things, I had this Faber-Castell pencil, and it comes with a rubber and it's got like a little sharpener in the lid. and it's a pretty good design. And then you stop your pencil stabbing into things with the lid on. This is again a case of I like it, but I just haven't used it much, and that's mainly because I just like these Pentel pencils so much. This has just come with me in every travel kit that I've taken anywhere over the last year. And it's got the eraser in there. And obviously you don't need to sharpen it. And then the final thing is this book, Expressive Sketchbooks by Helen Wells. And I've enjoyed flicking through it and being inspired by her like bright colours and kind of, to me, like brave artwork. I think her bold use of colour and mark making is just really inspiring. I am bad though because I don't often sit and read art books. I just use the pictures for inspiration. So I can't say that I've actually read this book. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing what I have and haven't used and what I did and didn't like. I'm interested to hear your opinions on any of these products in the comments. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye!